I stood in the gleaming lobby of Maxwell Enterprises, mop in hand, watching the executives hurry past in their designer suits. None of them gave me a second glance. To them, I was just another member of the cleaning staff, invisible in my gray uniform. If they only knew that tomorrow, I would be sitting in their boardroom, not as a janitor, but as their new CEO. My name is Marcus Chen, and I've spent the last 5 years maintaining this elaborate deception. Not just here at Maxwell Enterprises, but with my entire family. They still think I'm the family failure, the one who wasted his computer science degree to become a janitor. What they don't know is that I'm the founder and CEO of Quantum Solutions, a tech company worth over $50 million. The irony wasn't lost on me as I watched my cousin David stroke through the lobby, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the marble floor. He was Maxwell Enterprises' rising star, their youngest VP at 32. Every family gathering, he made sure everyone knew about his latest promotion, his new sports car, his luxury apartment. I just nod and smile, pretending to be impressed while he patronizingly offered to put in a good word for me with HR. "Hey, janitor." David's voice cut through my thoughts. "The men's room on the fourth floor needs attention." Chop chop. I gripped my mop tighter, swallowing my pride. "Right away, sir." As I pushed my cart toward the elevator, I could hear him chuckling with his colleagues. "That's my cousin, you know. Always told him to apply himself, but some people just don't have what it takes." If he only knew that tomorrow, Quantum Solutions would be completing its takeover of Maxwell Enterprises. After months of quiet stock acquisition and strategic planning, we finally secured enough shares to gain controlling interest. The board meeting was scheduled for 9 a.m. sharp. But first, I had to survive tonight's family reunion. The annual Morrison family gathering was always an exercise in humility. Held at my Aunt Patricia's sprawling mansion in the suburbs, it was less a family celebration and more a competition of achievements. As I parked my deliberately modest Honda Civic in the driveway, I could already see the lineup of luxury vehicles: David's Porsche, my sister Olivia's Mercedes, Uncle Robert's Tesla. I straightened my intentionally cheap suit and walked inside, bracing myself for the usual barrage of condescension and helpful career advice. "Marcus." Aunt Patricia's voice carried across the marble foyer. "We were just talking about career growth. Come join us, maybe you can pick up some tips." The living room was arranged like a corporate hierarchy, the successful family members occupying the premium spots on the plush sofas, while the less accomplished were relegated to the dining chairs brought in as overflow seating. I took my usual place on the periphery next to my second cousin who worked as a high school teacher, another family disappointment. "So Marcus," David leaned forward, swirling his expensive scotch, still cleaning up at Maxwell. "You know, if you just finished that coding bootcamp I recommended, you might have made something of yourself by now." I thought about the 3 patents in my name, the revolutionary software platform I'd developed, the team of over 200 brilliant engineers who reported to me at Quantum. "The janitorial work pays the bills," I said mildly. My sister Olivia, an investment banker, shook her head. "I just don't understand how you can be satisfied with that life. Remember when we were kids? You were always so good with computers. What happened?" What happened was that I discovered a fundamental flaw in cybersecurity systems while still in college. Instead of following the family's prescribed path of climbing corporate ladders, I'd spent 2 years in my apartment developing a solution. They thought I was depressed, failing at life. In reality, I was building the foundation of what would become Quantum Solutions. "Not everyone is cut out for success," Uncle Robert declared, straightening his Italian silk tie. "Some people just lack ambition." I hid my smile behind my water glass. Uncle Robert was Maxwell Enterprises' CFO, and tomorrow he'd be one of the first to learn about the takeover. I wondered if he'd still think I lacked ambition then. "At least he's honest work," my mother chimed in, always trying to find a silver lining. "And he keeps his apartment clean." The room erupted in laughter at what had become a running family joke. Yes, of course the janitor keeps his place clean. They'd never visited my real home, a penthouse overlooking the city. The small apartment they knew about was just for show, part of the elaborate facade I'd maintained while building my company. Speaking of Maxwell, David set down his scotch, his expression turning serious. "Did you hear about tomorrow's board meeting? Rumor has it some tech company is trying to take over. Quantum something." I kept my face carefully neutral. "Oh, nothing to worry about. Uncle Robert waved his hand dismissively. These young tech startups, they think they can just walk in and take over established companies. We'll shut it down before it gets any traction. If he only knew that Quantum Solutions had been methodically acquiring Maxwell shares through various shell companies for the past year. By tomorrow morning, we would own 51% of the company. Actually, I said, unable to resist, I heard Quantum Solutions is doing quite well. Their cybersecurity platform is revolutionary. David snorted. What would you know about it? You're a janitor. I read the tech blogs during my breaks. I shrugged, thinking about the Forbes cover story about me that would be released tomorrow. They'd been sitting on it for weeks, waiting for the takeover to be announced. The conversation moved on to more important matters. David's new yacht, Olivia's promotion, Uncle Robert's country club membership. I sat quietly, observing my family in their bubble of self-importance, knowing it would all change tomorrow. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah, my COO. Everything's set for tomorrow. Board members notified. Press release ready. You sure about this? I looked around the room at my family, still laughing about my poor life choices. Yes, I was sure. After 5 years of hiding in plain sight, it was time to show them exactly who I was. The next morning, I arrived at Maxwell Enterprises at my usual time, 6 a.m. But today, instead of pushing my cleaning cart, I carried a sleek briefcase containing the takeover documents. I'd already changed into a custom-tailored Tom Ford suit in my private office on the top floor of the building next door, where Quantum Solutions was headquartered. Sarah met me in the lobby, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Ready for this? I adjusted my tie, thinking about last night's family reunion. More than ready. The Maxwell Enterprises boardroom occupied the entire top floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. By 8:45 a.m., the room was filling with board members, executives, and legal teams. I watched through the security feed as David arrived, radiating confidence, followed by Uncle Robert, who was frantically checking his phone. Mr. Chen, my assistant Thomas, appeared at my shoulder. They're all here. I nodded, straightening my cuffs. Time to make an entrance. At precisely 9 a.m., I walked into the boardroom. The reaction was immediate. David, halfway through some joke about the takeover attempt, froze mid-sentence. Uncle Robert's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. Marcus, David's voice cracked. What are you doing here? The cleaning staff isn't allowed in board meetings. I walked calmly to the head of the table, setting down my briefcase. Good morning, everyone. I'm Marcus Chen, CEO of Quantum Solutions. The silence was absolute. Uncle Robert's face had turned an interesting shade of gray. David's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. This is ridiculous, David finally sputtered. You're a janitor. You clean toilets. I smiled, nodding to Sarah, who began distributing documents. Actually, I was never a janitor. That was just a cover while we acquired controlling interest in Maxwell Enterprises. As of this morning, Quantum Solutions owns 51% of your company's shares. Uncle Robert lunged for the documents, his hands shaking as he flipped through the pages. This can't be legal. You can't be. The CEO of a $50 million tech company? I finished for him. The same company that holds 3 major cybersecurity patents. The one that's been featured in Tech Weekly as one of the most innovative startups of the decade. I pulled out the morning's copy of Forbes, my face on the cover. That Quantum Solutions? David had gone pale, no doubt remembering every condescending comment, every joke at my expense. But your apartment, your car. We're props, I said simply, just like the janitor's uniform. Tell me, cousin, did you ever wonder why a janitor had full access to every floor of the building? Why security never questioned my presence in executive areas after hours? The board members were shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Many of them had seen me cleaning their offices, never bothering to look beyond the gray uniform. As of now, I continued, I'm assuming control of Maxwell Enterprises. There will be some changes in leadership. I looked directly at Uncle Robert, starting with the executive team. Uncle Robert shot to his feet. You can't do this, I'm calling your mother. I couldn't help but laugh. Go ahead. She's probably still congratulating herself on having one successful child, Olivia. Wait until she sees the Forbes article. Just then, as if on cue, phones around the room started buzzing. The story had broken. I watched as board members and executives pulled out their phones, their expressions changing as they read about the brilliant young CEO who had built a tech empire while working undercover as a janitor. David was still shaking his head in disbelief. 5 years? You spent 5 years pretending to be a janitor just for this moment? No, I corrected him. I spent 5 years building a successful company while you and the rest of the family were too busy looking down on me to notice. The janitor thing? That was just to ensure no one interfered while we acquired shares in Maxwell Enterprises. My phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. You just saw Forbes. Call me. Followed immediately by one from my mother. Marcus, what is going on? Your Aunt Patricia is having a fit. I set my phone aside and addressed the room. Now, shall we discuss the future of Maxwell Enterprises? I have some ideas about modernizing your cybersecurity infrastructure. The next few hours were a blur of signatures, legal discussions, and shocked revelations. By lunch, word had spread throughout the building. The cleaning staff, my former colleagues who had always treated me with kindness, were among the first to congratulate me. Many of them knew something was different about me, they just hadn't known what. Around 2 p.m., my family started arriving at the office, demanding explanations. Aunt Patricia nearly fainted when security escorted her to my new office, the CEO's suite with its view of the city skyline. But you're a janitor, she kept repeating, staring at my nameplate. Was a janitor, I corrected her. Now I'm your boss. Well, technically, I'm David's boss's boss's boss. My mother arrived last, clutching the Forbes magazine. She looked like she'd been crying. Why didn't you tell us? I leaned back in my chair, thinking about all the family dinners where they'd mocked my poor life choices, all the reunions where they treated me like a cautionary tale. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly, or would you have tried to control it like everything else? Tell me how to run my company? Push me to give jobs to family members? She had no answer for that. Over the next few weeks, the story of the undercover CEO went viral. Business magazines hailed it as a brilliant strategic move, gaining inside access to a target company while keeping the competition completely unaware. My family, meanwhile, had to adjust to a new reality. David was demoted to middle management, where he finally had to prove his actual worth without family connections. Uncle Robert took early retirement rather than work under his janitor nephew. Aunt Patricia stopped hosting family reunions, claiming she needed time to process everything. But the biggest change was in how they looked at me. Gone were the condescending smiles, the patronizing advice, the jokes about my career choices. Now they looked at me with a mixture of respect, fear, and regret. 1 month after the takeover, I hosted a company-wide meeting to announce some changes. As I stood at the podium, looking out over the assembled employees, I spotted my old cleaning cart tucked away in a corner of the lobby. I smiled, remembering all the nights I pushed it through these halls, quietly building my empire while everyone else was too busy looking down their noses to notice. Success, I've learned, doesn't always wear a suit. Sometimes it pushes a mop, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And sometimes the best revenge isn't about proving others wrong, it's about proving yourself right. My phone buzzed with another text from Olivia. Family dinner at Mom's this Sunday. Please come, we have a lot to make up for. I typed a quick reply. I'll be there, but this time, I'm wearing a suit.